I'm Nick, aka Batman. I'll repeat that. Welcome to the Fool's Paradise podcast. I am Nick B. the Batman. Who are you people?
Oh, I'm Mason.
Nobody?
I'm Mason.
I'm Gilbert. We're just chilling here.
That's forever. He has never been matched. Unfortunately, you had to sit through that disgrace. But yeah, we got an exciting little bit. We thought the person who was on last week would be on again this week. However, they've abandoned their post. I'm pretty sure you'll see more of them in the future, though. So don't worry. We'll have you fixed in the future, but just not this time.
They're too shrub, Nick.
It's true. So, guys, how have things been since the last podcast?
Pretty good.
I've got the flu. I've contracted the flu.
That's always fun. I love when that happens.
Thought you said it was something else.
No,
syphilis.
Bronchitis.
Never had syphilis.
Oh yeah, I might just give like a spoiler warning for the gameplay since I'm doing like story.
True power lies in knowledge.
Well, you're doing the story, eh?
Yeah. So I'm just like giving a spoiler warning right there, so you guys don't get all mad at me for ruining the game that probably not very many people play anymore.
I'm gonna get pretty mad at you for ruining the game. I was gonna play that yesterday, but then I didn't. You ruined everything, as you always do, man.
Nick, you don't even have to watch it.
Dude, it's not even fun. You always ruin this.
I'm not Steve, okay?
No, you are worse than Steve. You'll never be my real father.
Well,
it's true.
We should get to news.
My hidden agents discovered a pile.
Okay, well, my first little bit of news is that the Queen of England died. No, I'm just kidding. The Suicide Squad trailer. What do you guys think of that? Also, Mason, go watch the Suicide Squad trailer right now if you haven't. We'll wait for you. Gilbert and I will just talk because you have to see it. All right, Mason.
I thought it was really. I thought it was really good. I'm excited about Will Smith being Deadshot, but I will say I do not like the new Joker.
Interesting. I have mixed feelings about the Joker because I still really hate the way he looks. I think the tattoos are stupid and everything, and the teeth and everything. Yeah. It's just kind of goofy and dumb. But I think Jared Leto is a great actor. Jared Leto, of course, is playing the Joker, and I liked what I saw of him in the trailer, actually. So I've got kind of just mixed feelings about him. You know, the look isn't all there, but I think the performance is there, possibly. Of course, I'll have to wait and see till we get to see the movie before I can make any like final criticisms. I don't want to say anything too harsh against or for him. But yeah, that's my thought process right now as far as the Joker goes.
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment of the trailer?
I honestly don't know. I mean, from someone who's more Marvel, DC, I thought overall it was a really good trailer, but
yeah,
I don't really have a favorite part.
I know it's not a part of the trailer per se, but I know my favorite part of it was the fact that Queen played throughout the trailer. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. I mean, that's
favorite song. Yeah. Favorite song of all time for me, so to see that being integrated in a comic book movie, Suicide Squad of them, of course, is amazing and super rewarding as a fan. As far as my favorite moment in the trailer goes, though, that one is kind of difficult. I gotta say, though, I thought it was pretty cool whenever we saw Captain Boomerang, who actually looks good in this.
Oh, Captain Boomerang.
Jai Courtney, not a good actor at all. At all. He's a terrible actor, but he actually seems to be putting in somewhat of a good performance based on the trailer. I actually enjoyed his part. I also really like the part where we see Deadshot like on top of the car just shooting people, shooting the soldiers or whatever they are and whatnot. Just going down to the things at all. Thought that was a really neat part of the trailer.
What?
Mason, I can't join you. And
why? Oh, yeah, because I'm doing that one mission. I think I have to do it solo.
Have you seen the Suicide? Have you seen the Suicide Squad trailer, Mason?
No.
Dude, I literally just told you to watch it. Come on.
I know, but Nick, I'm doing the gameplay. I can't just and I can't really just pause, you know.
Well, I mean, you could mute your mic and come back.
Well, I can't multitask very well either.
Yeah.
You could. Okay, never mind.
Kind of hard to multitask, you know.
Well, anyways, Mason's a scrub. I told him we'd be talking about it on the podcast earlier, and he still hasn't seen it, so let's all shun him for that. Yeah, Mason, you failed us.
I'm sorry. You don't gotta be so mean.
I don't think that you are sorry, Mason, quite frankly. I don't think that you are sorry. I feel like you're disrespecting me. What do I look like? Some sort of a fool? In paradise?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I thought everything in the trailer looked to be pretty good. Yeah, except for Joker. I thought it all seemed pretty fun. You still haven't seen a lot of Slipknot, which I don't think we'll even see a lot of Slipknot in the movie. He seems like he might be one of the first people to get killed off. But we did get a lot more of El Diablo, who originally people thought were going to be a pretty minor character, and he may still be. But we got to see him use his power some. Got to see him get a little more focused than in the last one, and all the press pictures. Of course, a lot of Deadshot, a lot of Captain Boomerang, a lot of Harley Quinn, and some of Amanda Waller as well. I think those were the most focused upon characters. Enchantress, we got a little bit of Enchantress, not a whole lot,
Joker.
But we saw plenty of her in the past one. Joker, of course, got his own little feature in his own little trailer art.
Emo Joker.
He looks more like Meth Head Joker to me. No, seriously, he's missing teeth and everything. And again, I guess that would go along with the big punch by Batman a lot and such. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid trailer. Oh yeah, the teeth part, like I said, I still don't like Joker's look. But I did think that he put in a pretty solid performance in this trailer. But I know you weren't a fan, so what exactly did you not like about it? I kind of want to hear your input.
I'm derping out right now because I forgot the person who played the last Joker. I'm derping out. Please help.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yes. I thought Heath Ledger's Joker was the perfect amount of insane, cynical, all those traits that fake Joker is. And I thought the new Joker, he seemed a little bit more. I don't want to say normal, but he just seems a little bit more not psychedelic. He seems a little bit more just teenage girly. I mean, you know the people in our school.
I don't know if I would describe him as that. I will say that I think he seems like a bit more of a. I certainly wouldn't use whimsical as a word because he doesn't seem whimsical. He seems very dark in it, I think. But he does seem like he's having a lot more fun with it compared to the Heath Ledger. The Heath Ledger Joker was a very dark portrayal. I think you kind of got more of the menacing aspect of Joker in his performance rather than sort of the fun aspect of Joker, kind of the I guess goofy aspects. With this one, while he still seems very dark, menacing, kind of messed up, kind of crackheadish. I don't know, that's not a word, but I'm making it crackheadish, I guess. I do see a lot more of the kind of the fun Joker in him, where he's just kind of laughing a lot more, kind of just reveling in chaos.
Yeah, but still the tattoos and silver teeth.
Yeah, I still think it's terrible. I don't really see a purpose for the tattoos. They just seem very odd and stupid. Maybe one or two of them I can see. I'm not necessarily against the idea of Joker having tattoos. I mean,
He is the king
as a
of
whole,
crime.
but it's just an unnecessary piece. And the fact that he's covered like head to toe with them, especially that damaged one across his forehead, it's just it's dumb. And that's even as someone who enjoyed him in this trailer and the last. The look is still, it hasn't gotten any better.
It's just dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, that's, let's see, what else was there? Amanda Waller still seems great in the trailer. The person who's going to be getting the Suicide Squad together, of course.
Yeah.
We kind of just saw a lot of the same from her, like the same footage I saw in the last one where she's eating that steak at the dinner with all those other people. But, you know, still, let's see. Who else appeared in the trailer? I think that about covers it. Because I don't want to necessarily go into depth in all of it. Don't want to do a full-on analysis, you know what I mean? Anybody there?
I'm here. I think we're heading off.
I'm here. Yeah, I had to decross.
Okay, but yeah, I think that, without going into like a full-on analysis, I think that about covers it all. Yeah. Okay. So, next thing I want to talk about is Star Wars Episode 8 being delayed. I think it was set for like, what? I think that was set for like, what, a May release date at first or something?
It was May.
But it got pushed back to a December, so going from a Sunday, or not a Sunday, a summer release to a, of course, end of the year release, December release, just like The Force Awakens. Kind of got mixed feelings about it. I wanted it. I was glad that it was happening a lot sooner, because, you know, it's a 2017, May 2017. I was happy that it was happening sooner whenever it was released that it was doing so, but at the same time, if they really need this time to work on the film to get everything worked out, I just want them to make the best possible product they can, even if that requires them to take more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same thing with The Force Awakens, and it turned out to be good, so I'm hoping that they don't push it and then turn out to be like The Phantom Menace.
Yeah. With the Star Wars movie and all the practical effects involved, all the work involved in making a good one and such, I think that you do have to take some time to develop everything. And so the fact that they're kind of, you know, pushing off, giving themselves some more time to work on stuff, get everything worked out, if that is what they're doing. Hopefully it's not because of just little problems, but if they are just doing it to just make sure everything's finely tuned and such, I don't think that's that big of a problem. Of course, I prefer there not to be as much weight, but that said, you know, I'm still happy. I'm just happy that we're getting Star Wars in the first place, and that they're doing everything they can to make a good product, you know?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it, Mason? So I heard you say that it kind of sucked that it got moved back, so I kind of want to hear your
it's bad that it moved back, but it's also good in the fact that it might be better.
Yeah.
True. Also, it kind of makes me wonder whether or not they want. Kind of makes me wonder possibly if Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release had anything to do in the moving. Now, I don't think it would be necessarily a big catalyst for it moving because I think if that was the big deal, I think Star Wars would have moved back, not necessarily all the way to December, of course, but it's something sooner, and and I don't think they would have, if they were really worried about another big blockbuster movie, that they would have moved to where they are now in December, because that's originally when Avatar 2 was set to be, which we'll get to that in a moment. But it does kind of make me wonder if that was possibly one of the reasons why they did that, why they moved it.
Also,
you know,
when is Guardians of the Galaxy 2 supposed to come out?
Star Wars was going to go up against Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in the about the same time. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 coming out May 5th, 2017. Star Wars originally coming out. It might have been that same weekend. I know it was definitely around that time. So
You must go.
I think so. It kind of makes me wonder, since both are owned by Disney, I wonder if the fact that one could potentially, since even though they'll both be getting the money from both of the movies, I think they probably want two separate successful films, and they want them to be at their highest capacity of making money. You know, if you release them together, there would be people kind of torn as to which one would see, and they'd only go see one. Whereas if you release them kind of separately, kind of far away, that gives people time to see them both, you know, so they can break up a lot of money from that. So I'm not necessarily saying that it was one of the main causes, but it does kind of make me wonder if that could have played a part in it.
And then also, they don't want it to be like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy would have fared much better than Alvin and the Chipmunks did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since it was a very big success, huge surprise, and it's already gained a lot more support, and a lot of anticipation has been going into it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it would have been spotted as bad as Alvin and the Chipmunks, but even now I'm not sure how good it would have fared against Star Wars in comparison. I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, Star Wars Episode 8 was delayed, of course, to December, but interestingly enough, it would have also, had this time being, it would have gone up against Avatar 2. This is Avatar, like Blue Cat people Avatar, but James Cameron Avatar, not the Avatar Last Airbender, M. Night Shyamalan piece of crap sequel, which isn't happening.
I think they're both gonna be.
But Avatar 2, however, has been delayed indefinitely, so it will not be going up against Star Wars Episode 8 at all.
Indefinitely?
Yeah, indefinitely.
I believe that's what they said. Until they can figure something out, I do believe. So yeah,
I mean, I liked the first one okay, but it wasn't my favorite.
Wait.
So I'm not surprised that they're probably won't wait a second.
Hey, Gilbert, I just realized. This is a Crucible map.
The storm begins to obey. Once
Nathan,
more,
I just realized we're doing a podcast.
I know, it's just I might forget. And I just
Got a pull a Logan on you right there. What were we talking about again?
Still,
it being delayed.
Avatar.
Oh yeah, Avatar. So yeah, I think Star Wars and Avatar, they would definitely be considerable competition to the both of them. But with Avatar, you know, it's been a while since we're one. Steam has kind of gone off. It's not as special as it was. Yes, it's not as hyped as the first one was, and it's not as special as the first one was. We've seen this time and time again where a movie will come out and it's very special and unique at the time. Like Avengers was the first team up, was the first superhero team up movie. You know, things like that where it's a very original concept that can appeal to a lot of people. By the time the sequel rolls around, regardless of the quality of the sequel, it usually doesn't necessarily make as much money as the sequel because it's not as big a phenomenon because it's not as special. It certainly carries a lot of the flair of the originals, but it doesn't. It's not. So I don't think Avatar 2 would have necessarily made as much money as the first one. Avatar really spread because of the good word of mouth, but I think over time a lot of people have kind of disregarded it a bit. A lot more people have stepped up to say that it was kind of not as great a movie as people said. I mean, visually it's a masterpiece, I do believe. As far as the Blue Cat people, all the rainforest things seem visually it's amazing, but story-wise, it really was kind of cliche and lackluster, and it was to save the world, you know. It wasn't anything new that we've seen before, where the visual effects were. It was kind of like Gravity. It was such a visually stunning movie that you kind of forgot about the story in a sense for a while. But once you do kind of get to thinking of it, you know, you can kind of analyze it more, get deeper into it, and maybe have some doubts about the film itself. But so I don't think Avatar would have fared as well in the box office as the first one. Even with the first one being the highest grossing movie of all time. and especially with Star Wars impeaching upon that record, not getting first, but surpassing like Avengers and I think Jurassic World and such to become third or second at this point. I do think it was a big threat. So, and I know it's definitely got to be a complex production. But James Cameron it always is, and in a movie like this where you have to get all the visual stuff correct and perfect, you know, it's got to be a tough thing. So I can definitely see why they made the shift. Drink some water. Gosh, I talked a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't believe the Avatar series. I mean, I'm not talking about the M. Night Shyamalan crap, but...
No one wants to talk about the M. Night Shyamalan crap.
I believe that it'll, if it does come out, I believe it'll do good, not as good as the first one, simply because that quote-unquote hype train has died down a lot since the movie did come out, like, what, 3 or 4 years ago?
It came out in, like, 2009, I think, so that's, like, 6 years.
Oh.
Or 7, whatever, I don't know. 2016, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be.
I just don't think there'll be as many people willing to make that journey out to the movie theater to see it.
Especially with, I don't think maybe Avatar had some competition at first. I don't remember. I'm really having to recall a lot of stuff because that was a while ago. But I don't think Avatar had any significant competition going up against it. Especially nothing as big as Star Wars. Star Wars is a worldwide phenomenon, and Avatar was too. I think actually it made the bulk of its money in international sales rather than domestic sales.
Yeah.
That said, though, nothing can really compare to Star Wars in terms of recognition and such. And so really anything you put up against Star Wars is likely destined to lose a lot of steam in comparison just because...
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah. Which, let's be honest, Alvin and the Chipmunks probably wasn't going to be a huge box office smash. Maybe it made some decent money, though, but
when
Star Wars, it was, and not even just that, not even opening weekend stuff, other stuff coming out around that time, movies like The Hateful Eight and such were still affected by it, just because, you know, good word of mouth, a lot of people go to see that, a lot of people over time, there are also a lot of people who went to rewatch it. I saw it twice, you know, so yeah, definitely big phenomenon. I think it was, even though I'm not a fan of the Avatar movies, I do think it was a wise choice to move it. Yeah. If it ever does get made, which I probably will, I mean, they've been working on it for a while. Avatar took a long time to develop as well, I believe. Yeah, just, if they ever do release it though, I mean, we'll know. You know, whatever, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
The storm is both an answer.
Yeah, definitely I can see why they would make a decision like that. So the final thing I want to talk about, and I don't really want to get into a deep discussion about it because it doesn't necessarily matter as much as the other thing. I don't think it fits in as well as the other topics that we talk about. But it's just that the Sundance Film Festival started up recently, which is a very important time for films and such because it's a lot of them brings together some of the best films of the year. From some of the best indie films and such, introduces some of the most experimental as well as unique films. So I just kind of wanted to state that that's happening right now, and you know, a lot of different stuff is going on, of course, this year. As per usual, a lot of different big films and such going on. So I just wanted to mention that the Sundance Film Festival, which started 21st maybe, and I think is going on to the end of this month, just started. So that's exciting. I've never been to Sundance, of course, and I don't watch watch all the Sundance movies, but occasionally I'll watch a good film from there, one that debuted there possibly, or won the grand prize and such. So it's a good prospect, and there's usually some really fantastic films introduced, so I do think it's worthy of bringing up on the podcast. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. What I'm excited for, the Olympics are this year.
Oh, they are? Oh, yeah, they are.
In August, I believe. Yeah, I'm excited for it simply because I like the theme.
What's the theme?
Da 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 da.
Copyright.
It's not copyright.
Good job, Gilbert. You just got sued. I know we asked for the theme, but gosh, I'm gonna blame you. 20 representatives of the Olympics would like to publicly apologize for using your theme, and if you have any lawsuits, please aim them towards Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm open. I mean,
He's responsible for this.
Don't sue
He
me.
and he
I like
alone
music.
is responsible for this reckless tragedy, and we apologize.
Yes.
Blame him. Please.
Well, I
blame
mean,
him.
I think the Olympics are nice. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not a sports person. Just I like watching the Olympics.
So, who do you think's gonna? Which team do you think's gonna win this year, Mario or Sonic?
Sonic.
I'm gonna say
I'm not sure what
Mario
you're asking,
won in
but
2012.
Did you guys ever play those games?
Yeah.
Mario vs. Sonic at the Olympic Games?
Yeah.
I never have.
Yeah, I played. Yeah, I played.
I never played the summer one, but I've played the Winter Olympics.
I played the 2012 summer and then the 2008 winter.
I played the 2010
speaking
Winter.
of- Yeah, I played the 2010
Winter Olympics are weird because, like, I think they come out of. Do they do it like 2 years after the summer?
Yeah, every two years they switch off between summer and winter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played the Winter Olympics.
I've
I
never
played
played
it on the
any of
DS.
them.
But I remember the hockey mini game. That was pretty fun. Sonic characters were better at the hockey though. They always were.
Yeah.
Because they had that crocodile dude, and the crocodile dude was just a savage.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
I remember the one where you had to go down on the big jump thing, the ramp jump ski thingy, the ski jump or whatever. That was pretty fun. That was a pretty even event between all of them.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I
solid.
actually got really good at that. That was
Been
actually
like-
besides Transformers Decepticons, that was the first game I had owned.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I had
Yeah,
it
it's
on
been
the-
years since I played that game. I don't even have a Wii anymore, which is what I used to play it, but
I
yeah.
played it on the Nintendo DS.
So yeah, Olympics. I don't watch them, but Gilbert does, and that's okay.
I watched
Yeah.
part of them. Not much, but I
the
watched like.
street walking part because it's funny how they walk sometimes, but I don't really pay
Yeah.
attention to anything else.
I don't really. I just watch it when it's on. I don't really know what I watch. I like to watch the torch part and like the opening ceremonies.
Oh yeah, the opening ceremonies are
All those
awesome.
countries.
Yeah.
That said, it's kind of weird whenever you have like a country with all these representatives, like massive crowd of people, and then you get something like Lesotho.
Nick, what are you talking about? Lesotho's the best country.
It is the best country. I apologize, Lesotho. I've wronged you.
But you know, the Olympics were when I learned that we're no longer like enemies with Germany.
That's
We're
how
no
you
longer
learn.
Yeah.
We're no longer gonna do what?
The Beijing Olympics.
Enemies with Germany.
The Beijing Olympics, I saw Germany and America, and I was like, well, why aren't they like angrily looking at each other?
Storm surges at your fingertips.
Because it's not World War II viewpoints.
Gilbert, yes, it is.
Strength,
Stop denying.
power.
That's racist.
Well, that's Mason's middle name.
Oh yeah. Mason's middle name.
That's my middle name. That's my first, middle, last, second, middle, third, two and a quarter name.
Close enough.
Skills. So anyways, the topic, favorite filmmakers / directors. Who wants to get us started here?
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg. I think one of the most notable filmmakers of all time.
E.T.
One of the most notable directors, of course.
E.T.
Just look at his works.
Park.
E.T., Jurassic Park, the Indiana Jones films, Jaws. I mean, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I do believe.
It's pretty good.
Just all these different things. Bridge of Spies he just recently made. I believe that's up for Best Picture. He's an incredible... Schindler's List, of course.
Yes,
Incredibly talented director. Mm-hmm. Goodbye, but Lucy K. skit is hilarious.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, please check it out. You're doing yourself a misservice by not watching it. But yes, Steven Spielberg was definitely one of the most He is one of the most influential directors of all time, I believe. He basically created the summer blockbuster. I mean, before Jaws, there really was no summer blockbuster. And I think that he really changed up the movie industry as a whole. I mean, can you really think of any of other directors who've been so successful at making just films that really anybody can enjoy for all audiences?
Charlie
Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was very influential, but yeah, I guess I can't really combat that. Then again, I mean, you don't see a whole lot of people watching a lot of silent films these days, but still the influence and impact that he made on the film.
What are you talking about, Nick? Deaf people always watch silent films. It's still silent, Nick.
Still, but I don't know. Maybe they use their imagination. My brother's deaf. My mother's deaf as well.
I'm deaf.
I am deaf. I've been reading your lips the whole time. That's how I tell what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. We're not in the same room, so how are you reading my lips? You only think that we're not in the same room. But we are. Trust me, I see you right now.
What?
I'm watching them. Both of you. I'm reading your every movement. I saw that, Mason. It's respectful. Caught you red-handed. Your hand is literally red. You just strangled an orangutan to death. Thought I wouldn't see that? I saw that. Your hand is red from orangutan blood. I hope you're satisfied with yourself, man. Are you? Are you satisfied?
I am.
You should be.
Hey, Gilbert, you should be able to join now.
Gilbert, don't think I didn't see that.
I didn't do anything.
I saw what you just did. You just punched an eagle in the face. That's a slight against America.
I can't join Mason.
Well, maybe after I start the mission.
It's because you're matchmaking.
Yeah, after I get done.
Steven Spielberg is essentially one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, of course. Body of work, endless. Also, the things that he did. I mean, look at all the people that he's worked with in the industry. George Lucas, John Williams, J.J. Abrams. He not only his work doesn't even stop at films either. I mean, he's produced. I mean, in the 90s, he produced just a string of successful shows like Tiny Toons, Freakazoid, Animaniacs. That's him. I mean,
E.T.
Steven Spielberg, even just as without the filmmaker credit, which is incredibly important to him, of course. Even without all that, he's still got impressive body work. He's still doing all this. I think he's really a master of film.
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't necessarily made a lot of... I know he hasn't made, like, an E.T. or Schindler's List in a while, you know. just an instant classic. But even the movies that have been less impactful, like Munich, like War Horse, like Bridge of Spies, have still been have still been critically acclaimed films, and have still been really good, solid movies as a whole. So that just speaks to how great of a filmmaker he is. You know, he's just incredibly talented, immensely huge talent, dude. This dude is full of win. He's full of win. You can't lose. I mean, you can lose. I mean, War of the Worlds, but very rarely.
Yeah. Any other?
The next filmmaker I want to talk about is Michael Bay. Now, let me tell you about a true genius. This dude directed the greatest film series of all time, the Transformers movie. Well, I don't care who you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care where you're from. I don't care how you speak, how you walk, if you even can walk, if your brain is functioning right, if you're a baby, if you're a child, if you're an adult, if you're a senile old man on his deathbed who's just living off of, like, you know, a life support machine, you know, no matter what background you have, everyone likes the Transformers movies. Everyone, I mean everyone absolutely loves Michael Bay. This dude is extreme talent. I mean, look at Pearl Harbor. Mind blown. My mind was blown like an explosion. Speaking of explosions, a massive explosion, Michael Bay. Now, what do you guys think about this cinema maestro?
Said no one ever.
I mean, you disgrace our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, Gilbert.
Well, I mean, he's just being serious.
Gilbert, you disgrace the world.
I was serious, Gilbert.
I mean,
are you saying that I'm not serious? I mean,
Gilbert, you disgust
Are you
me.
defiling America's Michael Bay?
Well, I mean, he is...
Michael Bay single-handedly fought off the communists. Did you know that? I bet you didn't.
Did he say it?
You know who ended the World War? The first one? Michael Bay. You know who killed Osama bin Laden? They'll say it was... They say it was SEAL Team 6. But you know who was on SEAL Team 6?
Not Michael Bay.
What are you talking about? Gilbert. You know who exposed Richard Nixon? I'll give you a hint. His name starts with M, ends with Eichel, and Bay. Go ahead, take a guess. Who it is?
Michelle Bay.
How bad is it?
Close enough. It was Michael Bay. You know who was the inventor of Uncle Ben's rice? Not Uncle Ben. It was Michael Bay. Quite frankly, I'm offended, and I'm harmed by gross mistreatment of Mr. Michael Bay. He was knighted, actually, so it's Sir Michael Bay.
Who was
knighted by the Queen. Yeah, he was knighted back in 1973 for his humanitarian war efforts, as well as his pop culture influence, his artistry, his pure artistry. I mean, let's be honest, it takes a true genius to be able to not only produce a TNT movie, but to also be
that movie was actually okay.
Okay. No, Gilbert, it was excellent. I think you're missing the point on all of this, Gilbert. The point is, Michael Bay he's a cinema god.
Okay,
he's the Zeus of cinema.
There's a trick to getting through it. So
Mason, turn around.
Film isn't the same without him.
Hey, Mason.
Don't even get me started on M. Night Shyamalan, Gilbert.
Come at me, bro.
Nice hat.
M. Night Shyamalan, absolute talent. What a talent.
I have one more. Hold on.
Uwe Boll as well, man.
Ready?
Uwe Boll. And all serious though, another filmmaker that I want to bring up, Quentin Tarantino. Do you guys know?
He is. Yes.
Yes, this dude. I know I've said this about 73 times already, but immensely talented individual. I've seen most of his movies. I've seen Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. Let's see what else I've seen Django Unchained. What? I've seen both Kill Bill 1 and 2. I haven't seen The Hateful Eight, actually. I haven't seen them yet. Nor have I seen Jackie Brown or Death Proof, but I do own Jackie Brown and Death Proof. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino, I believe he's one of the names that will be remembered through history, basically.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen parts of Pulp Fiction, and then I've seen Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
But yeah, he's a pretty new director, arising on the scene only in like 1995, in the 1990s pretty much. Before 1995, actually, Reservoir Dogs, the year that was released, was here 1 second. I forget whenever Reservoir Dogs was released. I think it was 90s, early 90s and such. But yeah, he was huge influence on a whole lot of filmmakers of tomorrow, basically.
Mason Hahn.
I feel like his films
are going to be
studied. I feel like his films are going to be studied for a long time, and mainly for the dialogue and such. The incredible writing talent of this man. I really admire him as in a sort of way. He manages to create realistic dialogue, but it's also really fun and intriguing. It's hard to describe him because there's a lot of ways a person could really just sum it up. I mean, a lot of people would just describe a lot of his films as just violent nonsense. Some people would say that he's overrated and such. But honestly, I think Quentin Tarantino is I think he's a huge talent. I mean, he's one of the few people who lived up to the hype that they got from the 90s, really. The 90s was the rise of the indie filmmaker. We saw guys like Robert Rodriguez and Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino come to fame.
Hold on. We're back.
And while I think Kevin Smith is a fantastic filmmaker, and I do want to talk about him later on in here, his films haven't always been on point in such. And Robert Rodriguez as well. They're kind of a bit of hit and miss and such, but I've got to say though, extremely talented individual.
School's closed tomorrow.
For real?
Yeah. I just got the call.
Yeah, no school.
Yay.
Okay.
Sorry guys, that one was interrupted.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Quentin Tarantino
got like 2 feet of snow.
really lived up to all the expectations he set. Cool dude.
Has he made a bad movie?
I wouldn't say so, no. Death Proof, some people didn't like Death Proof, but that was really kind of, it was a very different film because, well, for once, he wasn't really going for his own, like, original concept. It was kind of based off of those Grindhouse movies of the past. So he was really he was trying to emulate a style like that, and that didn't work for everyone. But I think he did a fine job of emulating that style. From what I hear, he did a fine job from a lot of credible sources that I've seen. I haven't actually watched the film, so I can't honestly say that. But at the same time, I have heard a lot of different complaints about it. I wouldn't count it against him because it was released as a double feature with oh god, what's it called? I forgot what it was released with, but it was a collaborative effort with Robert Rodriguez. They both released a Grindhouse-like movie in that. I wouldn't hold it against him because it still got some pretty solid reviews. I've heard good things about it, but at the same time, I would say that that's the closest he's been to a bad movie. Jackie Brown wasn't immensely successful, but it still got good critical reception for the most part. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's made a bad movie, per se.
Yeah. Mason, do you have a director?
A what?
A director?
Obviously George Lucas. Truly an artist.
I do think, with no joke though, Lucas was a pretty talented fellow. Back in the day, of course. We've seen a lot of the work that he was capable of doing.
I saw where to go.
Especially whenever he's kind of limited.
Yeah.
Of course, THX 138 or 1138. That was a solid film by a lot of people's account. It's actually been it's been it was classified as a culturally significant film by the American Film Institute. And then American Graffiti, of course. It's a classic movie. I personally have never seen it, unfortunately, just because I've never gotten the opportunity to see it. But it's considered a classic film, of course. But let's stop beating around the bush here, though. Main reason why everyone loves and hates him is Star Wars. Now, he only directed A New Hope, but of course he's the mind behind the entire thing. Well, I mean, he directed the prequels, but as far as good movies go, he only directed A New Hope. But he was the whole mind behind Star Wars, and and partially one of the reasons we call it filmmakers instead of directors is because, you know, all the different things some of these people have made in film, regarding film, and even some of the stuff outside of film, like on TV, internet. But Star Wars, of course, massive phenomenon. We talked about it earlier here whenever we're going over news. Huge worldwide phenomenon. It just really changed the face of film as a whole in science fiction.
Probably one of the best. You can probably quote it a lot.
Oh yeah, very quotable movie. Super original. One of the problems a lot of people have with Hollywood these days is that they don't see a whole lot of originality in there, just because a lot of movies now are sequels, reboots, prequels, you know, that sort of things of that sort, the rehashing of genres and such. But
Star Wars
one
was
thing that I think
one of the first true sci-fi movies.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would agree with those issues, because I think a lot of the movies, well, there's definitely a lot of crap out. Well, there's crap out there. There's good stuff being produced as well, but that's a whole different can of worms. But as far as original movies go, Star Wars, of course, very great, but at the same time, very influenced. You feel the Kurosawa influences in it as well and such. But very fun movies, amazingly talented blockbuster movies. They're fantastic. They changed the face of cinema as it is. Yeah. I mean, put sci-fi on the map. There was a huge splurge of sci-fi movies afterwards. Most of it was just terrible movies trying to cash in on the success of Star Wars, but still, the impact that it had bring forth so many. The special effects were phenomenal at the time. It just changed everything about the movie-going experience, I think is a fair statement to say. Yeah, Mr. Lucas really did well in conceptualizing all of that, and I think there's a lot to say of him handing over the reins while still being able to make up a lot of the concepts and such. I think that's a lot of respect that should be given to him. Regardless of how the prequels turned out, I do think that George Lucas has earned a lot of respect for himself. And that's not even mentioning Indiana Jones, you know. Yeah. Going back to Spielberg, that was a collaborative effort with Spielberg, and with the exception of Crystal Skull, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with Shia LaBeouf and such, great movies. I mean, what's more to say about them? I mean, they're just fantastic movies. Once again, you could see both bringing forth a lot of new stuff, bringing forth that action-adventure genre, but at the same time very influenced by this the pulpy serials and such that they watch as a child, the action-adventure serials. So, really good stuff there. George Lucas, I know you kind of intended that as a joke, Mason. Yeah. And I know without a doubt that's what his career has become.
But it was pretty good.
And Strange Magic and Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. But there's a lot of redeeming. I think the George Lucas that we once knew and loved is kind of gone, as far as what we want. So. Yeah, Strange Magic, guys, great movie, right?
I don't know what that is.
Lowest grossing animated movie, created by George Lucas. Yeah. Nobody blames you for not knowing what that is, Mason, because nobody wants to remember, nor do they remember Strange Magic.
There it is.
So, other filmmakers, Stanley Kubrick, of course, was an incredibly important filmmaker. Now, I haven't actually experienced a lot of Kubrick films, as a matter of fact. I've seen a lot of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah, I've seen
as well as different parts of just small parts of like Eyes Wide Shut and The Shining and such. But I haven't actually seen a whole lot of. I haven't really seen a lot of Kubrick's body of work. But if we're talking about most influential guys in the business, we gotta say Kubrick, you know. The dude behind 2001: A Space Odyssey, another important space-centered film, high on.
It was probably one of
the story as well.
It was probably one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it that this dude knew how to make some bizarre movies. I mean, Clockwork Orange, 2001: A Space Odyssey, not your average movies per se, but still, very influential films. Very, very concept-heavy films as well, that were very driven, just by the medium of film, you know, the visual medium and such. You really got a feel of the film. Like I said, I can't really linger on Mr. Kubrick very much because I admittedly haven't experienced a whole lot of Kubrick's film line, if you will, his body of work. But I can say that he was a very talented man, fantastic man, filmmaker extraordinaire. Same about Hitchcock in that sense. Once again, a man who incredibly talented, extremely influential, used the medium of film, visual storytelling to amazing heights. But like Kubrick, one that I haven't experienced a whole lot of, unfortunately, which is something I hope to correct in the future. So yeah, what do you guys thoughts? What ponderings do you have? Coming up with anything? You pondering stuff?
I mean, not really, but I mean, there's one filmmaker that kind of deserves a bit of credit. J.J. Abrams.
Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams.
Oh yeah, J.J. Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek, Star Wars, Regarding Henry. Done a lot of different stuff. Cloverfield. J.J. Abrams is a unique filmmaker in the sense, not in the sense that his films are necessarily unique. What I mean whenever I say that is I kind of have a unique way of thinking of J.J. in the sense that I think J.J. is a pretty talented guy, and that one of the credits I can give him is that he's really good at emulating other people's films in a sense.
Oh yeah.
He can really create a similar aesthetic as other people. As noted by Star Wars and Super 8, he can kind of really get a good similar feel to a lot of different things, kind of like a chameleon in a sense. Mission Impossible 3, I kind of feel like he's really good at recreating different styles of things, which is something not too common in filmmakers. I actually wouldn't go as far as to say that he's a super unique filmmaker in the sense that the films he makes are incredibly unique. I think he's more on the safe side. But I think what he does is very. I think he's a very talented individual, and even though they're not the wildest, like, amazing concepts in the world, all of it, I mean, he can definitely create some fantastic concepts. Star Wars alone proves that. While it's not all like Kubrick, like, grandiose kind of things, or minimalistic things. While everything's not like that, I do think that he's just a talented man with some, let's see, he's talented. And he can put a lot of force behind, pun intended, he can put a lot of force behind a film and how popular and how good it can be. So yeah, while I wouldn't put him in the pantheon of greatest ever necessarily, I do think he's one that needs credit.
Yeah.
And speaking upon directors who I wouldn't necessarily put on the pantheon of greatest ever, but I do kind of just want to discuss about and give credit to, and that is Mr. Kevin Smith. Now, I know a lot of people would cry foul at me even kind of mentioning him here, because a lot of people have kind of felt his career has soured over the years, and I can definitely see where people get that impression from. Just to give you a little background, he kind of, in 1994 he made the movie Clerks, which is an indie classic, and it was really a film that was not really anything like any other film. It was kind of like it kind of presented an average day in life kind of thing in a very unique way. It introduced unique dialogue, a lot of pop culture references, of course, but comedic as well. It was a very unique film for the time, and even though it was amateur, kind of like guerrilla filmmaking at its finest, it kind of amazed a lot of people. So we went on to make some films: Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Clerks 2, of course, Dogma, Red State, Tusk. So I think he's, while he doesn't, kind of like J.J. Abrams, he doesn't do so many unique things with the film media as far as the visual storytelling aspects of things, I do think that he's got a lot of ambition in him in what he does, especially in his earlier films like Clerks and Chasing Amy and Dogma. I think he can create. I do think he can create some unique concepts. He can really get down to unique dialogues, kind of like Tarantino. He's a bit of a dialogue master in a sense, and that he can develop characters well, to where even if things aren't that grand, even if things aren't conceptualized amazingly, even if not everything is very, very, very big, very hinging upon one another, it's still important and it still feels right. And like I said, a lot of this I say in reference to his earlier career, because I know a lot of people aren't so much of a fan of his later career, and I can't blame them, because Tusk, while it is I know I said earlier he doesn't always come up with the grandest fantasies and stuff. While it is a unique, in this case, it is a unique movie. It's not the best, but it's a silly movie, and like Red State and but really my main problem lies with the Cop Out, which I didn't enjoy. But yeah, stuff like that though, I do think that he's got talent in him. I think that he can definitely come up with some great concepts. I think even if they're not the biggest in scale, even if they don't feel so important as a Kubrick film or as a Spielberg film, I think he's very ambitious in a sense. I think his early work is very influential on the entire indie film scene as a whole. And I do want to commend him for his work. And really, while I care about his films, I do want to mention him as a person outside, because he does a lot of podcasting, and it was a personal influence of mine in getting into podcasting and such. And I think he's one of the all-time great storytellers. If you ever listen to one of his like Evening with Kevin Smith DVDs and such, where he tells all these different stories. I know I'm kind of babbling on now, but yeah, I do want to kind of mention him. So yeah. Silence.
Yeah. I don't know what to say after that rant.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta say yeah, man. Just say
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now my mind's just kind of running through different filmmakers. What about Edgar Wright? You guys know who Edgar Wright is?
I might have heard the name.
He is the director of Shaun of the Dead, World's End, Hot Fuzz,
Hot Fuzz,
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he was originally going to direct Ant-Man. He worked on it a lot, and he still gets he got a story credit for it and such. You can see some influence there, but yeah, I think he's a fresh talent, one of the freshest talents we've seen, one of the most promising individuals we've seen.
He has the individualized movie making.
Yeah,
Evan,
he's definitely unique in his movie making process.
With, for example, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Which I love Shaun of the Dead, and World's End, and Scott Pilgrim vs. World. Like the films that he does, they're very and he does the way he makes comedies and such, the way he makes movies as a whole is very unique in a sense, because he does a lot of new things with them that you don't see a lot, and he does. He goes outside the common parameters of what you'd expect in a movie. He uses unique ways in almost every aspect. He uses unique ways to tell jokes, to change settings. He does a lot. Like he'll sync action to music. He'll do a lot of different visual gags as well, which is something that you don't see a lot in a lot of different comedies. As well as movies as a whole, the whole use of the visual medium. But yeah, Edgar Wright, I think he's definitely, he's of course been known for a while now, since Shaun of the Dead, really, that he's had a lot of potential, a lot of greatness in him. So I do think that, yeah, it's true. So I think that he's one of the most unique directors out there, and that he can create some of the finest movies. Hilarious movies, touching movies. Yeah. And the fact that he can even make a movies as funny as he does, but also with as investing stories and characters that he does, I think that's commendable. Yeah. Really great stuff by Edgar Wright.
Yeah. Another director. I mean, we haven't seen as many as movies, but Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes, I kind of mentioned him whenever I was talking about Kubrick, but definitely one of the most iconic directors of all time in every aspect of the word. The way he was so innovative with how he could use a camera, just to create these amazing shots. To do all these visual things, to create horror and suspense, really. Suspense was the big thing, just building up a scene to its highest tension, just fine-tuning every little bit of a scene. His meticulous nature really brought forth a lot. Like I said, I can't speak as though I've seen so many of his movies and whatnot, but I can say how much of an influence he's had on the business. Yeah. Incredible.
Any more movie directors?
Martin Scorsese. Talk about to do with a long line of work. Everything from Wolf of Wall Street all the way back to Goodfellas and Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. He's just got such a large body of work, all of which is so amazing. It's hard to ignore him in the scene, and the fact that he's still going on working to this day, making amazing movies, making inspiring pictures, as well as just real feeling. I think he's got a sense of realism to the movies that he makes a lot, but also a sense of grandeur, and a lot of it too. He's kind of once again he can do a lot with movies. He can create a lot of different feelings amongst the audience. Wolf of Wall Street was actually a really funny picture. But at the same time, it was a study, so... it was like a character study in a sense. You could just examine it to pieces. Raging Bull, a very emotional picture, a very realistic picture as well, kind of gritty feeling in that sense.
How could we forget? This is another director. Ridley Scott.
Oh, Ridley Scott. Yeah. A director who's seen a lot of ups and downs in his career, but who's definitely re-established his good name as of late, I think, with The Martian, of course. I think Ridley Scott is also a fantastic filmmaker as a whole.
Yeah.
The
Martian was
Aliens, of course, fantastic franchise. The Martian just completely revitalized his career, brought everything together. To say Ridley Scott is a good filmmaker is a statement that a lot of people could have debated as far as the merits of him before, but I think he's really done a lot to reestablish his name again, to really to prove that he's a master of film. And I don't think there was any debate that he was a good filmmaker for a while. And to see him and from going from the top, from one of the top to not one of the bottoms, but to kind of I guess just wearing out and to be back out, to get back out of that slump, to go the distance again is really awe-inspiring, actually. He's certainly reestablished. I know I'm repeating myself at this point, but he's reestablished his good name, you know. I mean, you know, just so soon ago it was like Prometheus and you know, it was like Prometheus and things like just movies that weren't everyone's cup of tea, but you know, now he's making The Martian, and you know, that's not even mentioning stuff like Blade Runner, of course, which is it's a classic. It's just a complete it's an American classic at this point, really. To see stuff like that, you know, it's good. Good to see him. It's good to see you back. It's good to have you back, Ridley. It's good to have you back.
The bridge across just vanished.
So yeah, Ridley Scott.
Give me a second. I'll check with Iris. Yeah, she says it's probably just a resonance spell.
What other directors is that to talk about? The Coen Brothers. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Coen Brother movies. I've seen a few, such as Fargo, Inside Llewyn Davis, the True Grit remake, of course. These guys, they make really quirky, fun films that are also really insightful, and that are also really, they make films that are both entertaining but also intriguing and genuinely satisfying and emotionally appealing. So I think I gotta give them credit for that, because not everyone can pull off a balance like that and make it good. The Big Lebowski, of course, I've seen that. Fantastic comedy. These guys really are kind of game changers in film as a whole, just because they just establish fantastic films that can really pull off an emotional spectrum of things. But you know, they can make you feel good. They can make you feel bad. They can make you laugh. They can make you cry. You know,
just overall good movies.
Yeah. They're good films. They're fine films. You know, No Country for Old Men. You know, classic stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say, but they're classic stuff. Raising Arizona. You know, classic stuff.
Nick, I guess you're a fan of classic stuff.
That's classic stuff, man.
Any luck with the weapon?
It's classic stuff. I don't know if you know it, but it's classic stuff. Did you know that it's classic stuff?
You're gonna have to get your hands dirty.
It's classic stuff. So what about David Fincher? You guys know about David Fincher?
I don't.
David Fincher, he's the director of, he directed Seven, which is one of the all-time greats in my opinion, as far as a film that is really, really haunting, a film that is really kind of messed up. It's pretty terrifying, if I do say so myself. Pretty messed up, pretty disturbing, but in all the best ways. He's a very dark filmmaker, of course. He made with films like Gone Girl, of course, and Fight Club, and Seven, and
that energy powers the weapon. Kate,
I'm trying to think of another film that he did, like Zodiac, of course. I actually enjoyed Zodiac. People, I've seen some debate, but I did watch Zodiac and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think he can definitely be a dark director, but in a way that's very intriguing, very real. Very disturbing, and it'll last with you. It'll stick with you. His films will, and they'll really leave you thinking about all the events that happen, thinking about the deranged characters, thinking about the crazy stuff. You know, he's really a guy who consistently makes good movies for the most part. I mean, Alien 3 wasn't good, but that was a lot of studio interference, and that was his first outing as a director, so I don't think he really got a fair shot at it anyways. I mean, Social Network I haven't ever seen, but still very important film.
Stay on target. We need more Guardians on that dreadnought.
So yeah, I think David Fincher is definitely an important filmmaker, and one worthy of noting on our favorite filmmaker list. He's one of my personal favorites. He's not one that immediately comes to mind, admittedly, but he's one in. Christopher Nolan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan. Mason, you know about Christopher Nolan, don't you?
Not too much.
He directed the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh,
He directed Inception, Memento, of course, most recently, Interstellar, which got mixed.
I like it.
But mainly positive, I would say, but still kind of mixed. But I think he's kind of like Edgar Wright. He's one of the newer talents, but he's still a very, very he's a potential to be a great. Of course, I think he's already established a good enough name for himself, kind of like Edgar Wright, to be remembered through history. But I think he's got a long-lasting, good career ahead of him. He's the dude who reinvented Batman, reestablished him into the cultural lexicon, got him out of that stage of Batman and Robin where the name was kind of dragged through the mud, rose from the ashes of sorts. Also created some of the finest concepts like Inception, which was a mind-blowing film, of course.
But was he really dreaming?
Using a lot of, I mean, I feel like there's a lot already been said about Christopher Nolan, just because he's been one of the most popular among the years. So people have definitely spoken out about him a lot. He's one of them, but I think just with his brilliant use of practical effects, the brilliant cinematography in his films as well, which we always find some fine cinematography to pull off of brilliant looking films and such. And then I commend him. I commend Chris. And Chris we trust,
Yeah. Another. I forgot the director I was gonna say.
Oh, I got one. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of movies you like, but Tim Burton.
Oh yeah, Tim Burton. He's definitely. I think he's one of the most stylistic directors out there. He really creates films that you instantly recognize are him.
I'm not sure I think his work, so I'm not gonna say anything.
I think though since we've been with him so long, since he's made so many movies that he has over the years, I do think we got kind of worn down and we got kind of used to the style. But he really does create a unique style with every film. I can't say that I'm the biggest ever fan of his work, because he's definitely made some not the best films per se.
What was that one movie with
Alice in Wonderland or Looking at You?
What's that one movie with the aliens and they get killed by opera singing? You know what I'm talking about? It was a really crappy movie, like
Mars Attacks.
Yes, Mars Attacks.
But no matter what, you can expect him to bring forth a lot of you can bring forth a lot of style to that, and he has made some genuinely good films. I think Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, the first Pee-wee's Big Adventure movie, which is a bizarre film, of course, but I liked it. Big Fish, Nightmare Before Christmas. He wasn't the director of, but he did play a heavy part in making it and developing it as well as such. So he's definitely a director that is worth mentioning as far as some of the biggest name directors, some of the most recognizable filmmakers ever. So yeah. I'm trying to think of any others. Man, I know the list goes on and on of all the different people, and I know no matter what, there's always going to be some, I know we're going to kind of gloss over some, of course, especially with the time limit, but trying to think back of any others.
Any others?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. Kind of drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Alejandro Iñárritu. Yeah. Someone who's seen a lot of success as of lately as the director of Birdman, which is a film I absolutely love, as well as the director of The Revenant, which is up for the most number of Oscars out of any film this year. He's seen a lot of success lately. I've only seen Birdman of his film so far, so I can't speak to any larger array of his films. That's still the only one I've ever seen. But all the films he made prior, and the film he made after Revenant have gotten good reception and all. I did love Birdman. I thought it was a fantastic film. I saw it a while back. Actually, not too far before the Oscars, because I wanted to in the last year's Oscars, of course. But yeah, I really enjoyed that film. I think he's definitely rising. He's been, of course, people have been talking about him for a while, but especially with the Oscar win, and especially with The Revenant getting as many Oscar nominations as it did. He's definitely grown to prominence, so I think he's worthy of
DiCaprio finally win an Oscar.
Possibly, who knows?
I think he actually will this year.
Yeah.
It might
Watch him be like the
Bear or
runner-up.
Stick. Yeah. You know, The Revenant was really good. I like the Stick. Stick was the best.
Have you seen The Revenant?
Cabal ship.
No.
Must have deployed from Phobos.
Neither have I,
Cabal.
unfortunately.
We'll deal with them later. Secure that transmat zone.
Ben Affleck. He's directed some movies.
Gilbert,
I've
slow
never
down.
actually seen one of his movies at all, but I know he made like Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Fargo. Might be directing that Batman movie, an upcoming solo Batman movie. He just kind of popped in my brain. Yeah, I think that kind of covers it.
Yeah.
You guys think that it's a fine amount?
Anything else we need to talk about?
Not that I can think of.
Podcasts. Is there any change in the podcast
Hey,
time?
Zavala.
No, it's probably gonna be 2 for a while.
Sometime, if it's probably Sundays at around 2. If it's not on Sunday, then it's probably some other day in the weekend.
Guardian, take care of that tank.
That's we try to keep it on Sunday. Other days are only if we ever need to. Just to let you guys know, since we know we've kind of been a little bit shifty on our times. But we got to do what we've got to do is to deliver yous the content yous deserves. So yeah, I think that wraps it about up. What did you guys think about that? What do you guys think about this this cast of the pod?
I thought it was sad without Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully he can return. He can make his triumphant return. So I guess peace out, guys, and remember, now this is podcasting.
Please subscribe. We need people. I'm down.
Like, subscribe, go visit our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, 4chan,
Support us on
Tumblr.
Patreon.
Snapchat, Patreon, Indiegogo,
Kickstarter,
MySpace, Friendster, support our AOL. That'd be nice.
Now, excuse me, Guardian, I have to go have
Yeah, you can find our email at we don't have an email at yahoo.net.
Nick, we have a Gmail.
Gov. Gmail.gov.
Mason, would you like to tell us them our email?
I mean, I gotta have to look it up, but I can find it.
Just put it in the description.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description later.
That's it. So Mason.
Honestly,
Mason,
no, they don't even have to go to our description. They can just look it up. It's on our channel in the about area.
Oh.
Oh well, Mason. I guess go ahead and end this thing, but let me get to what I was saying before, because I kind of like this outro. Peace out, and remember, now this is podcasting. Get it? Like a Phantom Menace reference. Podcasting instead of pod with. Never mind.
Is that it?
Yeah.